You're such an asshole.
All right, let's do this again. I have it more professional this time. We got a request, and if you have a request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com, where I, the world's only professional asshole, and today I will be dusting off my old economist hat and putting it on because I have I charged enough, but then you're like, I didn't charge enough. I didn't charge enough because Drew, I think you're a well-intended kid. You're not a man. You're a kid. But fuck, man, listening to your ignorance was painful. Oh my fucking! You got 4.8 million subscribers. I'm like, oh, okay, just so you all know, maybe you shouldn't listen to the 28-year-old about worldly advice and how the economy works. This is painful. This was fucking because just all the years experience I got like of researching data, right? You know, you guys, if you watch baseball, right, and you're really into baseball, and you got the baseball cards, you know everybody's baseball statistics. That's kind of like me with economics, right? So I wasn't getting laid. All right, it's not as fun, but I remember all these. Mark McGuire had however many home runs that his batting average was this. And I remember, wait, defense spending to GDP wasn't what this kid said. I gotta go look it up because unlike Drew, I want to make sure I know what the fuck I'm talking about when I say things, they're factual. Because I don't know, the economy of the nation and people's standards of living are pretty fucking important. So maybe we ought to diagnose shit correctly. Drew? No, currently young, popular. Literally go eat your fucking avocado and toast. Saying current popular thing. Hey, kids. So here's the request. Hi, Cappy. This will be my third request so far. I know that you don't do reaction videos live, so maybe seeing it first and then commenting would be your choice. Whatever you decide is fine with me. Yeah, I can't do live response videos because YouTube will demonetize it because the algorithm doesn't know it's a pain in the ass. Here's the deal. Asmongold, a popular streamer and YouTuber who has views I agree with on immigration and censorship, reacted and agreed with the video that pretty much blames capitalism and argues for more taxation / welfare. The two are separate. The original author makes one generalization after another, not going into depth. Well, I'd say, you think? And says things that sound true but fail when examined deeper. They're just wrong. Whether he's consciously lying or is just lazy, I'm going to go more the lazy route because maybe even liar. Because I'm like, well, why'd you choose that data and not this? Like, that's odd. You just chose that thing consciously. And he is biased to the left. He's like, look at what all the media is saying. And he just cites Fox News. I'm like, have you not seen the media that's been before this kid was alive? Literally, the media was all leftist and all biased to the left. I'm like, you're not even going to mention the today, what's happening? So I think maybe there's a little bit of both. It does have a bias, but that's okay. I wouldn't expect anyone under 30 to have a solution of like, oh, wait, empiricism and hard work, and we don't live in la la land. Sadly, Asman didn't do the examination, and he has a broad audience that, while alert on censorship issues, may fail to socialist appeal. Can you do the good work and debunk some of the points made along the way that the broader audience will understand? This worship of the New Deal makes me sick. He didn't. he conveniently. See, I think there is some lying in there. I'm like, well, that's convenient. You cited these tax brackets when it wasn't the New Deal, but associated the two. That's curious. Your analysis went that way. Knowing America was that close to Atlas Shrugged becoming a reality. Here's the video. Many thanks. Your long-term fan, Crumb, came to the U.S. from Bulgaria in 2000 and still remembers communism. Oh, yeah, you remember how this worked. What, the pretty boy who had everything paid for, probably? Yeah, no offense to the man. Looks like he had a kind of easy life. Looks like mom and dad pay for some shit. Not you, Crumb. I'm talking Drew. All right. So let me go over it. I have the video link below if you care to watch 30 minutes of him. But to summarize the video, Drew, not Crumb, Drew Gooden does actually a very good job up front of diagnosing a problem. And basically, his video could be summed up as diagnose the problem greatly, like accurately. Yeah, 100%. You're right. These are all bad things that are happening and need to be changed. And then completely fuck the ball when it came to diagnosing the causes and the prescription. It's like girls coming in like, there's not enough good men to marry and all that. And we're just really, bro, we're not having babies and the birth rate's going down. No one's getting married. You're right. You're right. That is a real problem. And then every woman's solution is, and we should socially condition men to want to fucking love fat chicks. Oh. And it's the socialism shit. It's just, we need more of other people's money. You're not unique, Drew. You're not unique. It's the same fucking shit. They and somebody, not me, do something. It's tiring. They're not going to learn. No one's going to be empirical. No one's going to sit down. No one's going to say, hey, before we put this person under surgery, should we maybe run a bunch of tests to make sure we know exactly what's going on? No, there's a problem. And now emotional response or reaction that isn't going to fix the problem. Look, I don't look, kids, listen to me. Hey, Drew's young and he's one of you. And he hello, fellow teenager. He speaks to you, right? And he says the pretty things. Have at it. Just have at it, man. Go follow his advice. I don't care anymore. I'm done trying to explain to people. Like, no, go do it. Go. It's we just need more welfare. We need more government money. So the basic thesis of his video is people are suffering, standards of living are going down. There is a K economy, which is somewhat true. Not necessarily the economy, but the wealth. He's absolutely 100% right now, and some of it the economy too. These are different things, people. The economy is not wealth. These are different words with different meanings. It would really help if you learned their terms and use them correctly. But he is right. The economy is doing more poorly than it was before. This has been the case since the 1940s to the 1960s, where average economic growth was about 4.5%. Do you notice these statistics? And now I'd have to update it, but last I checked, it's about 2.5%. The economy is on a general slowing down trend, and we are here at that moment in time as well. He is also correct that there has been a significant split between wealth accumulation, where older, which is typically how it goes, by the way, just so you know, yes, the older people tend to have more money because they've been working longer, but to a point that young people cannot afford certain things like housing or cars or retirement, which I don't mean you can't save money for retirement. I mean, you're paying a PE ratio of 30 for the average S&P 500 stock. But I didn't understand that. Neither does anyone else talking about this conversation. And what he was saying is old people back in the day got to buy in when things were affordable, these assets. And now the asset prices have gone up, which has precluded young people from buying these assets. So I'm like, well, good thing you all majored in journalism and philosophy, became internet influencers, and none of you became carpenters, because that solves a problem. Neither here nor there. And in part, because of this wealth divergence, he points to corporations not paying people enough that they can live a living wage, which you guys have heard my channel. I'm like, yeah, I agree. You got to pay a living wage. Otherwise, I don't know what your employees are going to do. They're not going to be able to live. And then also, though he doesn't talk about it as much, they have been engaging in bad long-term business practices that they're just cutting corners at every spot. And generally his thesis was, back in the day, there was more honesty and a mutually beneficial relationship between employers and employees. And that resulted in higher standards of living because of higher wages. Not wrong. And then also their products and services, which you did not touch on, this is an important thing, were better back then. Now, as you're fully aware, they're sending out absolute dog shit, cutting everything to the bone. It is in shitified crap. He doesn't talk about, but he's not wrong. He talks about how companies are manipulating their stock price because of you got to get the number need to go up so I could get my bonuses and stocks, option, executive compensation packages, things like that, which has diverged from good product at a fair price, paying your employees maybe something worthwhile. And then the consequence of, well, you're making shit products that people couldn't afford anyway with the shit wages you pay them. And so now people are suffering more of a standards of living economy than anything, or they just can't afford it too. So that's his general thesis. He then goes into a historical analysis that is just wrong. It's just wrong. You want to see a perfect example of somebody too lazy to do their economic research or doesn't understand the the economy or the context of the time, things. I'll go through it. And then his solution is not entirely wrong. Companies got to pay people more. You got to stop outsourcing your jobs. Drew, where do you think about immigrants like coming in here and flooding the market, driving wages down? How do you think about that? Never mind. Let's not worry about that. The solutions are oddly skewed. Maybe pay your employees more, but then also we need welfare. We got to tax the rich, which in some very narrow applicable ways I am for, namely taxing corporations that required all you poor kids to get your stupid fucking degrees, bachelor's required, master's preferred, only to outsource everything to AI. Oh, and flood the economy with immigrants, right, Drew? Right, that low, right? It's like, no. And the reason we're like, okay, you prescribe something you think felt good. And the reason you prescribe is because it felt good and you also misdiagnosed the cause of the problems. So let me go through my notes here, which is his diagnosis of the problems. And I'll tell you why, for the most part, he's wrong. There's a couple of things I agree with him where he's right. All right. So yes, corporations are being horrible citizens. That's basic. They're being a net negative to the economy. I'll go with you on that. Absolutely. They're absolute dog shit. There's a case for taxing corporations there as punitive measures. Okay. He is not wrong in that corporations not paying larger wages and having enshittified products. Not to mention we're not producing enough of the stuff that we need. Outsourcing jobs, get it? That has contributed to young people in particular being poor. That's all true. It's all true. But you know what else has contributed to young people being poor? And I would say by more, but not much more than low wages and corporate malfeasance and corporate mismanagement. All you young, dumb kids majoring in bullshit. I get so tired of yelling us from the mountaintops. The main reason, go get my book, How Not to Become a Millennial. The main reason young people are poor, though not the only reason, is because you all keep going to college for bullshit degrees. You get into debt, and who's pushing that? See, Drew, the only problem is evil right-wing Republicans, and the Democrats are these wonderful. He didn't say that, by the way. It's just implied. So already it's harder for young people today, I will grant you that, to make a living and get by. I agree. That's why I changed my position. Yeah, live at home as long as possible and save your money. But nowhere in the calculus and the analysis and the diagnosis was, and every kid came into this already handicapped economy with debt and worthless degrees. Now, you kids can't do anything. Well, you mean you can through voting, and there's other things. You could do stuff to corporations. You could not buy the product. That's another thing. But generally, those are foreign entities, meaning not overseas, meaning they're not you. That's a different entity, different group of people. But you know what you could do to tremendously improve your life is stop majoring in dumb shit and stop going into debt for worthless degrees. If you are going to go to college, go for something worthwhile, like accounting or engineering, or join the military or trades, right? Okay, so this I'm trying to give you, you're fat. Oh my God, I'm at high risk for diabetes. I'm telling you, okay, you know what? You don't control your genetics, you don't, but you do control your diet and your exercise. Please stop majoring in dumb shit. Okay. So that's one problem. Uh, and he doesn't touch on that. If anything, he could argue, consistent with his thesis, corporations have been horrible citizens. They have been. And you know, one of the main reasons corporations have been horrible citizens is because they required stupid levels of education to get a not living wage entry level job. This is the one thing where I'd agree with him, where I think there should be a higher corporate tax temporarily, not to bail out fully people with their student loans, but a third. My dream, because they're responsible. You're the ones that lie to these people, go to school and like, oh, well, we're not going to hire you. Yeah, you know what? I think you corporations maybe should bail out a third. The other third should come from colleges and university endowments. Not to mention, I'd love to hunt down college professors and admins and all that the past 30 years and be like, hey, you know what? You're paying an extra income tax. And the remaining third, you kids got to bail your kids. You 30 and 40-year-olds got to bail yourselves out because you're stupid enough to think an English degree in an English-speaking nation was a great investment. So we got a little bit of common ground there. And then, okay, so here starts his thesis, how the welfare state caused American greatness and a wealthy middle class in the United States. He says the New Deal is what got people out of poverty, right? Never mind, the United States was doing pretty well before the Great Depression. Never mind that. No, things are it's just in the New Deal. And it was not the full welfare state. There was minimum wage. There's some government job programs like the WPA and the Civilian Conservation Corps. But if you look at government spending to GDP, it was not that big of a jump yet. Because here's the thing. You're right, Drew. Young people are suffering and old people got a lot of money. Do you know what the crown jewel achievement of the New Deal was? Social fucking security. Have you looked to see what part of the budget that is? Oh, all the rich old people, they got all the money, but the New Deal saved us. Let's get the New Deal. You mean like taking 15.3% of young people's money and giving it to old people through Medicare and Social Security? You mean that? And it was like, oh, the New Deal got us out of the great. No, it was World War II. If you study the Great Depression, not because you get the Great Recession, 2009, FDR came in and fucked with shit. He did. He scared businesses away. Like, fuck it. It wasn't until World War II came in like, hey, we all better get on the same page here, or we're going to be having our debate where they're going to be a capitalist economy or socialist economy in German. And they're going to have a say in it. This is going to tell us if we lose this one. So that was cute. And then how do I want to do this? Let's go right after the New Deal, the New Deal. And then we go on to the 1950. Now, it's not a lie. People just don't understand this. So they all go back and say, oh, you like the 50s? How you like the 50s? How you like the 50s? You know what the 50s? You know what marginal tax rates were in the 50s? It was 99.8%. Yes, they were higher. They were very high. Do you know why they were so high? This is where really my computer just logged me out. Oh God, I hate life. It's such. Am I still going? I don't know. See, because you're right, Drew. Microsoft fucked with all of us. It fucked us all. So I got to install Linux, and now I got to reset all the parameters and be like, hey, don't shut down after 5 minutes. Oh, all this, he's right. All this lost labor done dicking around with corporate fuckery and getting worthless. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Corporations are not possible to deal with. Now, I get it. But his solution was welfare. No, it wasn't. So the argument in the 50s, I'd have to look at the marginal tax. Some of them were up in the 90%. I don't know if it was corporate or personal income. Both were higher back then. They're very confiscatory. Do you know why it was that way in the 50s? Anyone want to guess why? Why don't you look at government debt to GDP? And you'll notice if you look on the left side of the chart, there was a big jump up and then went down. Like, why was that? What happened? Oh, 1914. No, well, not 1914 because we didn't enter 1916 to about 1919. Why did it jump up? Oh, that's right. There was that whole World War I thing where the federal government went into debt. And you know what happened about 15 years later? There's another big jump. If I remember, it even goes up to 120% GDP. I wonder why. Oh, that's right. All those government bonds, that was the national debt going up to fight World War II. And the reason we had high taxes after was to pay down the fucking debt. Watch debt to GDP and it goes down, if any of you could believe it. Now we're up to like what? 138? Ain't been no world war. There's just been the war on poverty. Which, if you care to look at the federal budget, 2/3 of that money since 1965 has been gone to the welfare state, and we didn't win the war on poverty. If you cared, link below is a link to the federal budget. You can look at it if you cared. So that's this common argument that leftists will use. It's like, well, we had high taxes, and you love the 50s so much, but they had a tax. Yeah, it went to pay down the national debt after World War II. I believe it was Kennedy who came in like, we're going to lower taxes. So like companies come and invest in, and from the 40s due to World War II, all the way up until the mid 70s, 73, 74, there was a oil crisis. Those are pretty good times. Things were growing. But yes. And if you care to look it up, so few people paid that rate, right? He's looking at this top echelon. That's what he does is he focuses on the ultra wealthy. His knowledge of the tax code is dog shit. It's not dog shit. That would imply there's something there. It isn't existent. All these people, some of the times they don't pay taxes. Yeah, if they have losses they're carrying forward. Yes, sometimes rich people don't pay taxes. And you didn't understand the difference between capital gains and an income tax, which is important if the majority of your wealth is tied up in stock. Yes, you're right. The capital gains tax rate, I believe, short term is 20% and long term is 15%. And you just said some of these people never pay taxes. I'm like, well, we need their tax return each year to find out what that is. And when you're talking, of course, he cites Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. They're the wealthiest men in the world. Yeah, that's all paper wealth. Like if they had to go and sell it, they're not going to get full price for it. They're going to have to pay capital gains and the stock price is going to tank. Walmart is $1 trillion company. They don't have $1 trillion in cash. That's their market cap. Do you know the difference between market cap and assets? There's a difference. Just what people are willing to pay it on the current stock price right now. If you try to sell the whole damn thing, you wouldn't get that much money because people are like, why are you fire selling the company? Is this boring? I'm sorry, economics is boring to you. But this is like, I'm sorry, cellular biology is boring, but we need to get this shit down before we diagnose the patient with cancer. I got to move the mouse now because Microsoft. So this sole focus on the ultra wealthy and their wealth, not their income, and on this very niche group of people that paid taxes back in the day or would pay it now, I mean, yeah, could they afford to pay a little bit more? Yeah, you're right. But I don't know. Did you do a cost benefit analysis as to how much wealth people actually have and how much the welfare state consumes? Right now, you want more wealth. We need more wealth. More? More. So then you obviously went to the federal budget. Look how much we're spending currently on welfare, right? Because no one would advocate spending more on something without first knowing what they spend. We don't, there's not enough money in our food budget. All right. How much are we spending? I don't know. It just, and if there's not enough food, like, yeah, you could say there's not enough food. But if I go and say we're spending $800 billion a year, which I think it's even more than that, we're spending, let's say it's a household, we're spending $10,000 a year on food. What do you mean it's not in the food? But well, where's the food? It's like, oh, I wonder if there's some fraud going on. It's not that we're not spending enough. We're not getting enough. There's a difference. But just the fact he didn't mention the difference between capital gains. And yes, that is a way that wealthy people lower their taxes. They do not take income. They get capital gains. They will sell an asset, whether it's stock they own or whatever. Yeah, that's it. And if you don't like that, vote and change it. You're right. We do have to collect taxes. Right. And if you want a tax rate, well, then go get an income tax. Again, I'm kind of for jacking up corporate taxes here for a bit. And by the way, I don't mean like a bit. I mean like, oh yeah, you're all paying 95% until we raise the money, pay off a third of those kids' debt, and we could go back to 0%. I don't know, because I want companies to invest here. But you, it doesn't. There was so much, like, we're on the wrong side of the Laffer curve. I said, really? So you looked up the Laffer curve to find out where we are, huh? So then back to, no, and then, so it's the 1950s, right? The welfare state in its current incarnation didn't start till 1965 under Lyndon B. Johnson, right? So he says, in the 50s, it's a lie. Now, whether he knows he's lying or he's just tremendously ignorant, it's a lie. It's the wrong information. So we're taxing the rich to pay for jobs and welfare programs in the 50s. No, we weren't. Most of it, go get the federal debt budget, was to pay off World War II debt. I'm sure some went to some kind of like, training program, some minor amount, but nowhere near what it is today. Nowhere near. And that is not what caused the 50s to be wealthy. It was the fact that every other country was bombed to shit. And we're the only ones that had working factories left. So there was that. Oh my God, it was hardworking Americans working on the assembly line. Yes, corporations were paying more as a percentage of GDP or corporate profits, however you want to measure it. But it wasn't Eisenhower coming in with welfare checks. That's Lyndon B. Johnson, which was 2 presidents after, I believe. Then my favorite, I think this takes the cake, man. This to Drew, bravo. Go put your avocado and toast in between your armpits, man. This is brilliant. So why did we start outsourcing jobs? Was it lower labor costs? Was it the over-unionization in the United States? Was it the opening of free markets? No, it was the Vietnam War. What? And this was such a stupid theory, statement, thesis. I have a hard time understanding this. So he says the Vietnam War caused other nations to surpass us. And I think his thesis was we spent all this money on military spending that we didn't spend it on the people, on the poors, on the jobs programs and the welfare, because the federal government is the main employer, apparently. And while we were spending so much money on fighting the Vietnamese War, other countries surpassed us. So I'm like, this is the one thing where I remembered my baseball statistic. I'm like, the Vietnam War was not actually that expensive of a war. When you look at government spending to GDP, I think World War II, I think government spending to GDP was 40%. And then when we came down, there's a little bit for Korea, and then it came down again. It jumped up for Vietnam. So I refreshed my memory. I looked up the statistics, Drew. it's even smaller than I thought. We're generally going down. But there was a little bump up in 1968, 1969. Do you know what percent increase in GDP we spent on the military, Drew? 1%. For 1 year, by the way. Then it went back down. I thought like there was going to be this kind of rise from, the mid 60s to the mid 70s when we got out. No, it kept going down. So, no, Drew, you're wrong. And that's the dumbest fucking theory I've ever heard. The reason we started getting competition overseas is because people were rebuilding. I don't know if you care to look at the Pacific Miracle, which is Japan in particular, but also Korea. And after that, more modernly, and by modernly, I mean the 90s, China and Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, places like that. Areas I covered before you were born. Yeah, other companies were Germany, like Volkswagen, Chrysler, not that's Chrysler, Dahmer, Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, they didn't just stay in their bombed out buildings. They rebuilt and they started wanting to sell their stuff. And in some cases, particularly the Japanese, they made superior products. Which gets back into your thesis that, corporations back in the 70s and 80s, the cars were dog shit. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But it wasn't the Vietnam War that outsourced the jobs. That was Clinton. That was NAFTA. And not irrationally so, because there was a time you get decent quality materials overseas called international trade. Are you against the tariffs? Are you? Well, that's forced international trade because I don't know about you. I want the Swiss making my chocolates. I want the Russians making my vodka. I want the Japanese making my cars. And everyone wants America to make airplanes. And then we trade. Now, yes, it did hurt the American worker, especially blue collar, when all of a sudden it was cheaper to go overseas. And yes, Jack Welch was one of the people who ushered that concept in. I'm not against that as long as there's other jobs here, which we did have. The IT revolution, computer industries, you go to higher and higher wage generating activities, higher profit per hour labor of activities. But you got to go and get trained and skilled. And y'all didn't do that. Follow your heart, but it will follow. And I will agree. Now it's gone way too far because now you're going overseas and hiring people who aren't as good as the Americans. Right? I want to know his opinion on immigration because he says, and then the Republicans came in and blamed it on immigration. Yeah, actually, when you flood any economy with more people, legal or not, doesn't matter. Well, they need a place to live and they're going to run and compete for the jobs. Again, it's like I'm a surgeon and we're diagnosing this body. And I'm like, the guy smoking cigarettes, he's probably got lung cancer. I'm like, well, it's not the cigarettes. Really? Really? Maybe if he just meditated. It's like, we're going with the Eastern holistic medicine bullshit, are we now? I think he's got cancer. What do you think he has? Mr. I've just been educated by the public school system in college to say fluffy, but what do you think it is? It's the Republicans in the Senate that's keeping our patient down. Oh, okay. If we tax the rich more, this guy won't have cancer. All right. So that was particularly precious. The Vietnam War caused foreign countries to compete against us. Because we were spending our money on M16 rifles and not jobs to the tune of 1% GDP for 1 year. Then the old trickle-down economics is bad. No, please stop being a boomer and blaming everything on Reagan. I was in the 80s. I was in the 70s. I remember the 70s fucking sucking and the 80s were fucking great. It was a real economic miracle. If you want, go look up GDP growth rates back then. Me and all these other families I know, man, we lived it. It was better. 1978 sucked. 1985, things were pretty fucking awesome. he had a good observation. Oh, irrelevant to the topic of discussion I'm having now. He did make a good point that the stock market gains are about perception and not fundamentals. He's right about that, which is another reason that you young guys and young gals are priced out of the stock market. You know, you can always buy a share of stock, but it's what are you getting in exchange for it? The stock market relative to the earnings these companies generate is twice as expensive today as it was back when I was able to invest in the stock market. It's called a PE ratio. If anyone cares to look that up, I mean, y'all can read books to study economics and know what you're talking about instead of talking about stuff you don't know about. It's an option. Just it's up to you. I don't care. Feelings, emotions, emotions and feelings. My teacher said Republicans suck. Then he goes on with where his bias comes in. So none of these things fare well for the average American worker, except for the 80s. Foreign competition, countries growing. How dare foreign countries grow and want to employ their own people and sell us their goods? How dare they? Right. It's going to be competition. Outsourcing, you're right. NAFTA, outside. It did not help the American worker. You're right. It did necessitate future training in higher net worth or higher productive industries. And then he goes, and it's just this is where your bias shows. Look, your skirt's showing, dude. He says, well, the big corporations, they got to convince you it's not them. So what do? The media comes out and blames poor people and immigrants. And I'm like, dude, maybe he doesn't have the benefit of being so old. Again, all of my life before the internet, the media was just the media arm, the PR arm for the Democrat Party. It's always Reagan bad, Trump bad, Republicans in Senate bad, Bush is bad. Oh my God, Barack. Like, dude, the media still to this day has to go get Gooden. Gooden is this solvent. If you ever work on a car or something, you want to get epoxy or glue or something off, it gets it off. They're selling Gooden by the truckload to the media because they still got to get Obama's cum off their face. Were you around for that? Did you see he's probably a kid when this happened, when Obama was and then of course he all has Fox News clips. Guys, dude, come on. Come on. One, I'll tell you, yes, flooding your economy with other people, immigrants or not, is going to depress wages. It's going to drive up housing costs. They blame poor people. Well, here's a question. Oh, and he went into SNAP, which I'll go into here later. At this point, you will notice his thesis is just welfare and government spending kept up the middle class. It's not true. Good jobs is what kept it up. Economic demand, production, efficiency is what kept it up. And he misconstrued paying off the national debt after World War II with government spending. And look, see, correlation does not equal causation, essentially, is what I'm saying there. What he fails to ask, and there's no analysis of this because he never looked at the federal budget. It's obvious. He didn't look at defense spending. He just said, oh, welfare spending. Buddy, did you look at welfare spending as a percentage of GDP? And the idea that we have been spending so much on welfare that we have raised a generation of spoiled people, adult children who can't support themselves, that doesn't dawn on him. And it was very obvious he never looked at government spending to GDP on whether it was national defense or welfare, all that. Because if he did, he'd say, oh, shit, we spend a lot of money on welfare. Because if you want to look it up, by the way, you got to do state, federal, and local. I'll just tell you the statistics now. It depends on the state and the local government, obviously. But state, federal, and local, generally speaking, okay, varies. You have 2/3 going to some kind of social program, whether that's outright welfare or not. But basically, I consider it welfare because you were taking money from one group of people and giving it to another group of people, and they don't get anything out of it. One could, like schools, right? Schools, I consider part of the welfare state because that ain't my kid. Now, if my kid goes there, okay, well, I'm getting something out of it for the 13 years the kids go. But we all pay. Mostly, you don't get most of your money back unless you send a ton of kids to school, right? So that's kind of a gray area. I'll grant you that, right? Defense, that's the national level, but local and state, then you have cops, right? So law enforcement, kind of the same thing. But if you look at the state and local, a lot of it, like 2/3 of it, again, depending on where you are, goes to basically pay for other people's shit. He chooses to look at SNAP. SNAP, where adults can't feed themselves. Because frankly, you have a generation of lazy people brought up not to work. Right? Yes, you're right. Corporations are despicable fucking actors in this economy. But don't tell me, after what, 50 years of the welfare state and the philosophy behind it of you can do whatever you want, my phone, get a student loan bail, all major in journalism. Oh my God, I don't have my. You have a generation of adults who can't feed themselves. Now, he points out rightly 30% of the SNAP recipients are kids. Okay, great. What about the 70% of adults who can't even feed themselves? And at the end of the day, I know this is going to sound horrible. This is not my or anyone else's problem. I don't care if it's I feel bad for the kid. That's not my kid. And can we, you don't have to agree with me, but can we agree a factor of this, that it is possible? There is the theory we've been throwing so much money at welfare and paying for other people's shit has made them soft and compromise their work ethic, right? You can all go to college and major in bullshit and you want a student loan bailout, right? We got 70% of SNAP recipients are adults who can't feed themselves. Don't get me started on all the fraud that's associated with it and all that. But the one thing Robert Reich did this too, who's the disingenuous man. This guy, Drew, it's like, SNAP is only 1.5 of the federal budget. Dude, remember that Social Security thing? Have you looked at that? Have you looked at disabled veterans benefits? Oh, Aaron, are you going to slam it on disabled veterans? Have you looked at what the disabilities are? Right? And at the end of the day, accounting, like, okay, yeah, I'm all for disabled veterans. I'm not saying no money should be spent, but I'm wondering if we're overspending it. What about TANF? Did you look at TANF? WIC? Did you look at all the other forms of government welfare? USAID, right? How much of that money was just a money grab? Did you look at the welfare state and it's a HUD Section 8? This doesn't even include unemployment financed by private companies. You're going to focus on something that's 1.5% of the budget, and you're going to claim that's, this is only 1.5% of the budget. Yeah, but there's like 40 fucking programs like that. And if you want to look it up, 65% of your tax dollars, not your money, 65% of your tax dollars, which on average is 1 in every 4 of your dollars, goes to give somebody else money without anything in return. That's the welfare state. But you decide to focus on, won't someone please take of the children's? Don't want kids to starve. You got me there, okay? I don't have much of a heart, but I'm like, okay. But fuck their parents. Besides which, I don't know. Maybe the optic. Did you guys see the fat woman testifying at the Minnesota legislature that she couldn't afford food for her and her 4 crotch fruit children? And meanwhile, the gal was almost 300 pounds. Like, the optics kind of suck when everyone bitching about SNAP is a 300-pound buffalo. Anyway, it's curious he only focused on something that's 1.5% of the federal budget, when welfare or income transfers, however you want to measure it, account for about 2/3 of state, federal, and local budgets. I'm like, so are we going to dismiss the theory that we've given so much free money away that, yes, corporations have been despicable, horrible people, but this isn't going to job training or teaching people how to be welders? Just here, have this food. Here's free shit. All right. And it might compromise their work ethic, right? I hate the corpos, man. Probably hate them more than you do. But dude, the work ethic of Americans is dog shit. because you're all raised by disproportionately female teachers and touchy-feely types in the K through 12 system, and you went to college where they all taught you to be good little Marxist socialists and be entitled, worthless brats with jokes of degree. Can we admit that that is also part of the problem? In other words, we don't exactly have the hardworking, loyal employees we did of 1955. We got people like, I got autism, ADHD, and I need Ritalin. Oh my God. And I have a social, I need to take, you got therapy dogs, and you needed to take an emotional personal day. It is very much like the sex war, where generally I will critique the female side of the sex war. But at the same time, you look at the dudes like, you're a bunch of fat pigs too, right? Or the meme, you're actually both despicable people. You're both fat, you're both lazy, you both want to avoid work. I don't, no wonder there's not even a sex war. No one's even showing up. You couldn't roll your asses to the front line to even fire a gun if you wanted. And this is kind of the same thing. You're right. Corporations are absolutely detestable and despicable. All right. Could the welfare state and leftist Marxist brainwashing in the schools maybe compromise the work ethic of the labor force? Can we admit that as well? No. Welfare caused job growth. He also then focuses, as I mentioned before, on the ultra wealthy taxes and not overall high income. Yes, you can look at the ultra wealthy. You could go back and look. I think Peter Schiff did that, where he looked at how many people actually paid those really high 60 to 90% marginal tax rates. It was something like 70 or 60,000. Don't quote me on it. It was under 100,000. And my point is, there weren't that many people who paid it. So when you look at who pays the majority of the taxes, by the way, you can look this up too if you want to go to the IRS. They'll show you based on income, whether you want to do quintiles of rich, upper middle income, lower middle income, and poor. You can look at it. The rich pay the vast majority of taxes. And if you care to look at government spending to GDP overall, except for wars, we're at the highest we've ever been in a generally non-war time. Spending money on welfare. In other words, the more the government spends on welfare, the lower our economic has been. I'm not even saying that's causation or correlation, but you can't say welfare spending increased jobs or standards of living, because we have way more welfare spending than we did in the New Deal, the 50s, or wherever else. That's if you care to look up the budget. I said my notey note down, go to my conclusion. So here's the thing. Like typical young people, he knows when there is a problem, and he is right. There is a problem. And yes, corporations should pay. All right. But his diagnosis is wrong, and therefore his prescription is going to be wrong. It's not going to solve the problem. It's just, by the way, dude, it's not new. You can more money of other people's money. If that was the case, the black community and the American Indian community would be wealthier and richer than fuck. All it does is it keeps people in poverty. So here's a question for you, Drew. Do you want to knock it off with the touchy feel-good bullshit of like, well, health at any size? Or do you want to say, I care about you and you're going to die. So we need to accurately diagnose it. And buddy, you got to lose weight. I know you get clicks. I know. I don't believe he's doing it for vanity or clicks or traffic. But man, I don't know. Can you, before you make a prescription, can you at least get your diagnosis right? So here's what old Cappy observes and recommends. Okay, corporations have exceeded the optimal level of business management where profit maximization leads to long-term sustainability and profit. They have gone past this optimal level. Right? And now they're employing things that are damaging people, and not to mention themselves. Shittification, cutting costs at the expense of quality. Cars, for example, are making things unaffordable. And you're right, paying people shit wages. And I would argue having ridiculous education standards that lied to 3 generations of young people, mine included, to waste their time and their money and years of their lives for a worthless fucking college. Can we start there? All right. Because they've gone beyond the optimal level of business management. And now they're running out of AI, bro. Dude, bro, outsource, bro. They've ran out of ideas. There are no more arrows in their quivers, and now they're starting to harm it. Go watch my video on Hewlett Packard or any one of the end of dude, bro, corporatism, broism. Go look that up. All right. This has caused damaging long-term effects in the economy, standards of living, inflation, standards of living by bad products and low wages and poorer people. I'm with you. The solution is not socialism or tax the rich, which Drew wrongly associates with marginal tax rates of the past. The solution is to let corporations suffer, collapse, do not buy their products, self-employment, go to school for good jobs, lower taxes and regulation, and maybe strong arm some corpos into not fucking over the country. Here's where we might find some common ground. See, taxing the wealthy, taxing the corporations, long-term, by the way, he doesn't believe in capital flight. Okay, have fun with that, buddy. Let me know how that works. The ideal world is you have to create an environment where corporations and employees want to and willingly and enthusiastically work for one another. That means you got to create an environment where both people come to play. You make a shitty baseball diamond with dog shit all over the place, landmines, and fucking Karens nagging at you every time you do something wrong and they're changing the rules. Nobody wants to show up and play on that baseball diamond. It's overregulated. It's an absolute shit fucking baseball diamond. However, if you groom the field, you kick the Karens out, you make it easy for you don't put a cover charge like a college degree to come and play. Say, hey, come on in. Governments could have training programs. I'm all for that. Oh, private sector could do it, but neither here nor there. For the trades, and you get zero corporate taxes, and you get the fucking regulation out of the way. Now corporations want to sit onshore, bring companies and jobs back. All right. That's something the government can do. That's what you need to do so that it's beneficial for both people. For young people to go to school for the right skills and trades, and hopefully not for 4 to 6 years of their goddamn adult lives. You give them skills and trades. So I don't know, instead of teaching them to be Democrat little bitches, have you thought about maybe teaching the kids something to do in the 13 years you got them K through 12? No, let's learn to diagram sentences some more. Fuck. Right? You got to make it so the employees and the employers want to come back. That it's easy, quick, and profitable for employees to find living wage jobs and for corporations to employ them. Even though I say you should probably tax corporations to sting them, to remind them, don't fuck with the employees anymore like that, requiring stupid college degrees, but say there's zero corporate taxes. Come on in. Would you see that? See where that might, huh? Yeah, there'd have to be taxes somewhere. Fine, you want to tax the rich. Fine, you want to increase. We could talk about taxation later. By the way, the correct answer is a flat sales tax. Everybody pay and would be done. But never mind. It's a different discussion. But mouthing off and like, you're right. If you want to get corporations to start paying living wage jobs, I'm with you a little bit where, I've talked about it before where I have the what was it called? Not the Goodfellas, the Al Capone movie with Robert De Niro, where he's got the baseball bat. I'm okay intimidating corporations. Like, if you fucking outsource, then you move the fucking company overseas. You're not here. Get the fuck out. Make the United States like, yeah, we're only going to be here for America. Like, you're going to employ Americans or not. If you don't want, go to fuck overseas. We'll make it as accommodating for you as possible. We're going to get Karens and Democrats and regulators out of your way. I mean, don't be, by the way, don't dump toxic shit because, there will be some regulations. But we're going to make it as easy for you to come here as possible. You fuck with us, though. I swear to fucking God, I got no problems taking over your assets and selling them to liquidate to pay for the shit you fucked up. Be a good guest here in the United States, and we'll make your stay pleasant as possible. You fuck with me, and maybe we got to make some examples, right? Hewlett Packard, Ford Motor Corporation. Like, oh, I see you outsourced it. All right, well, why don't you outsource the rest of it? Get the fuck out of here. But long term, the solution is not take from corporations, take from rich people to create jobs. You don't create jobs. If anything, you create not jobs by paying people not to work. That's the biggest flaw of this guy's analysis, is that somehow welfare created jobs. No, incentives and motivations in the pursuit of profit, which should be long term, which should result in people being paid good wages so there's not so much turnover over at your employees. That's the solution. But given your, frankly, Drew, shit analysis of the history of economics in this nation, your diagnosis, your recommendation is also shit, and it will not work. Solution is let corporations. So, that's another thing. Let the corporations go belly up. Don't worry. This will solve itself, right? The worst thing we ever did was bail out the banks. It's the worst thing we ever did. We should have let all those banks suffer, all the insurance and reinsurance companies. We should have let you all suffer. And then they would have learned their lesson. If you let the free market do its thing, yeah, there will be recessions, but there'll be tremendous pain. You're going to wipe. It's like a fire coming through a forest. It burns all the weak and unnecessary trees, leaving only the good ones standing. Yeah, AI, you're right. I can't wait for the AI bubble to burst. All these people think they could replace human beings with AI. Ooh, outsourcing everything, bro. Just get rid of no. I'm with you. Just let it be, man. What, you think OpenAI is going to make a profit? I mean, watch 10 years from now, it'll be the most profitable thing ever. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe you were right. I don't think so. Let him fail. Let him fail. I mean, right now, the auto manufacturers, no one's buying their cars because they're shit cars. Over-engineered cell phones with wheels, nagging Karens bothering us with safety features that are more dangerous than if they hadn't been put in there in the first place. Let them fail. Disney making leftist propaganda film for feminism and large black women in wheelchairs because we need lesbian space soap opera. Let them fail. Solutions let corporations suffer. Do not buy their right. Private equity's taking over all these companies, the restaurants. They're all failing. No one's buying it. Just let nature will heal itself. Self-employment. Go to school for good jobs. Lower taxes and regulations. And maybe strong arms of corporations and not fucking over the country. Right. I would have some like no fuck over policies. I see, and the hard part with the policy is like you can't make a general policy to predict what future fuckery corporations will creatively create in the future. So you need like that mafia don with the baseball bat. And then whatever, Microsoft comes in. We're doing like, okay, there'd be a perfect example. Microsoft. Everyone has to have Windows 11. We're going to spy on you. I'd be calling in, hey, dude who's in charge of Microsoft now, the Indian guy, come on in. Let me talk to you about something. And then he'd leave so scared shitless. He'd be like, okay, so we're not going to be doing Windows 11. I'm like, I knew you'd see it my way. I'm glad you thought good for you. I knew you'd remove your spyware from that. There you go. Right. I knew you'd see it my way, buddy. I'll give you another example where we're on the same side. These corporate HR Karen motherfuckers who post fake jobs. I see. You can't threaten physical violence, even though that's what they deserve, right? You can't Luigi them. But I'd come in. I'm like, look, here's the deal. I will make your life a living hell with the CIA, the NSA, regulations. I will make you can't do business here anymore. And I will fuck with your personal life to the legal extent I can. I will make your life a fucking hell. You are going to immediately get rid of all those fake job postings right fucking now. And just so you know, I got it approved in the budget to have the government watch you like a hawk no matter where you go. If you engage in any kind of fuckery like this again, I think you might just be in Guantanamo Bay, or I don't know, you might be missing in a national park you never found again. That's the type of shit. So you need like a government mafia kind of thing to make sure that whatever new bullshit corporations come up with, because they're all out of ideas, it doesn't happen. But you got to give them the incentive like, hey, come here. Hey, no, we're going to make it. Don't fuck us over. And this is the best place to found your business. This is the best place to headquarter your business. We got the best employees, although we'd have to like totally redo. Can we teach kids how to do accounting and welding instead of teaching them that men can have periods? Is that okay, Drew? Or would that offend your sensibilities too much? There you go. That's it. There's my analysis. This is why you should probably study economics and economic history, if that's such a thing, so you know what's happened. So we don't have another generation of poor young people. Link below. I have a link to Drew's video if you want to watch it. I also have a link below a book called Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell, if any of you care to do that. And then before we all start talking about the welfare state, how about you look up the federal budget, which I also link to below. Oh my God, the Treasury Department publishes the information, so we don't have to talk ignorantly about it. And if it wasn't for that damn Vietnam War, all of our jobs wouldn't have been outsourced. Oh my God, that was the best. How'd you get that one, man? What wackadoo professor? How did that? That was my favorite one. Oh, let's go to the super chats. Ken, $2. He says, hi, Ken. Mazatol, $2. I'll major in journalism and Mazatol, lesbian space soap opera. Yeah, it's true. It's true. There you guys go. All right, I'll see you guys later. Toodles.